Well, countless theories and scenarios have been raised to explain the disappearance of Flight 370. And joining me now for more perspective on this issue is Captain Tom Bunn, president of SOAR and author of The Breakthrough Treatment for Fear of Flying. And Captain, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We've been following the reports that a Chinese satellite has obviously located an image some 70 feet by 40 feet and is 75 miles south of where the Australian satellite viewed two objects earlier this week. Are you skeptical that this could be related to Malaysia Flight 370?
This third object, the most recent one, seems too wide. I think that's the consensus about it. But this is a nightmare that just doesn't end. And because it's so difficult for the families and everyone else who wants to know, to put some closure on this, that every lead has to be followed up, it appears.
I see. It's been 2 weeks now since the plane went missing. What theory are you leaning with at this point?
Every theory seems to have some fault in it. I don't see any reason to believe that the fact that the captain had a flight simulator has any bearing. If a pilot wanted to do something nefarious, they would not need any kind of simulator. They could simply do it with paperwork. So that I don't really appreciate, I guess, in a way, that the focus has been on him. And it may be political, I don't know. But it certainly is not an indicator of anything. If the plane was hijacked, I would expect it would be by someone who gained access to the cockpit. Why the plane flew for so long is really a mystery. We've had so much information that we first get a piece of information and then it's changed and then it's changed again. It's hard to even be sure what we need to fit into our speculations.
I see. We know that two military planes from China arrived on Saturday, helping Australia, New Zealand. Obviously, the U.S., Japan is sending help on Sunday. There is a lot of support out there, but can you give us any idea of how large of an area they have to search and just how difficult this is, even with all these resources?
Well, the ocean is unbelievably large. One of the search and rescue people I spoke with said that doing search and rescue is like mowing your lawn. You go up a row and then you come back down a row. If you're working with sonar, you're only able to cover about 1 kilometer in width. And if you think about the size of the ocean in terms of how wide in kilometers it is, and then that's how many passes you would need to make with sonar, and then add to that the length north and south. So it's a huge operation that needs to be conducted, and we don't have it narrowed down to a practical size.
Captain, would you have expected seat cushions and other floatable objects from the plane to have surfaced at this point? And give us an idea of how much more difficult the search becomes the longer it goes on.
Well, the most difficult thing about the search is that the black boxes, so-called, although they're high visibility orange, they have a 30-day life. And once that period is passed, they won't be able to pick up a sonar signal from it. That's critical. The other problem is that the longer this goes on, the more difficult it is for the calculations about the movements of the sea. For example, when they find some object, then they have to backtrack it to where they believe it was originally hit the water. And those calculations become more erroneous as time goes on.
Captain Tom Bunn, thank you so much for joining us, for your time and your insight into this mysterious missing plane.